this is Ebongeek. You're always welcome to join me in expanding your knowledge base. Comments are always welcome, and please subscribe. Hello, and this is Ebongeek45, and today is a great day to learn something. And today what we're going to be doing is actually going over the fade code that we already pinned on our Arduino and our breadboard. We're going to start a new project, and so let's go ahead, File, New, Other, no Arduino Sketch, we should know this already, and Next. Okay, and I'm gonna name mine Fade 1 or Fadey 1. Go with the blinky one. Well, next, let's see. We want to make sure we have AVR Arduino Uno COM3. Next. Finish. Okay, so we have our code here. So let's go ahead and bring up our header file by double clicking it. Let's bring up our .cpp file. Okay, double click it. So now we have both of our files. Just rearranging a little bit here. Now remember, we want to go to our Fadey file and we want to copy our include. We want to go ahead and select our Arduino.h and copy it. Then go over to our Fadey1.cpp and let's give ourselves a line here. And on line 2, let's put our Arduino include. Okay, so we're good there. Now, our code that we work with is pretty much the example code. So you can pull it up, but I really rather you type it out. Alright, and here's our fade code that I just pulled up from the examples, and it's your file, it's your examples. You go to your basics and your fade is right there. But what I would suggest is just, if you're gonna pull it up, go ahead and pull it up. Otherwise, just type it off from what I have here. The only reason I'm not typing it out is because we want to save some time. I'm going to explain it, and like I said, I really rather you type it because that's the best way to learn it. Now we have our codes. Our comments here is telling us this example shows how to fade an LED on pin 9 using the analog write function. So that's giving you a hint of everything that we're going to be doing. What we want to do is we want our LED to be of an N type. The name is LED. And 9 is going to be the number that our LED is assigned to. Why? Because that's the number of our pin. Okay? So, our next one is going to be brightness. And that's going to be how bright the LED is. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be fading the LED up and then fading it down. So fading it to high and then fading it back down to low, which is off. Brightness is going to play a big part of that because it's going to be going from 0 to the value of 255. 0 being off, and then it's going to fade up to 255, which will be the high. Then down to 0, which is going to be off again. Okay, so with that explained, let's go down to end fade amount, because end fade amount is very important because it's the thing that's going to be allowing for the fading. What we're telling it is we want it to fade 5 points at a time. That's really the rate of how it will fade and how fast it will go. What we're doing is we're incrementing it 5 points at a time. Again, that's going to be how many points to fade the LED by for each loop around. For our setup, it's pretty much the same thing. It's pin mode LED output. Okay, coming down to our loop. We first start out with our analog write function. Okay, remember our LED is equal to pin 9. Our pin 9 has a tilde in front of it. What that tilde in front of pin 9 means is pulse width modulation. It has a lot to do with how we're using an analog write with pin 9, which is a digital pin. By that tilde being in front is telling us, well, this particular pin can simulate an analog pin, right? Which is how we're going to be doing the fade. Okay, so there's many other pins on the digital side that actually have the tilde in front of it as well, which means you could use it just like you use 9 for the analog write. If you look at this, it's explaining a little bit about it, but it's not getting too detailed about it because of the simple fact that when we look at our Uno, we can see which ones have the tilde in front of it, but they don't know which one you're using. You could be using a Nano, the Mini, the Leonardo, the Mega. There's a lot of boards that you could be using on top of using the Uno. So they're just letting you know here, that there's hardware support for certain pins. Okay, we happen to know that the tilde is what lets you know if there's hardware support for this pin, and which pin 9 and a couple other pins on the digital side is. So next in the params for analog write is our LED. Okay, we know our LED is assigned to our pin 9. And then next we have our brightness. Well, our brightness is now set at 0. Okay. So then our code is going to run the next line. Okay, it's saying brightness is equal to, so our variable brightness, which was 0, okay, now is going to be equal to brightness plus fade amount. So our brightness is 0, but our fade amount is 5. So it's saying brightness plus fade amount is what is equal to brightness now. So now our brightness is 5, right? Because brightness is 0 right now, but then you have fade amount, and the fade amount is 5. Okay, so our brightness now equals 5. Okay, so then we're coming down here, is going if brightness is equal to 0 or brightness is equal to 255 at the high point. So well, our brightness is not equal to 0 anymore because it's equal to 5, because this line made it equal to 5. This is gonna test or equate to 0, false. We don't have to go into this if statement because it tested false. It tested that it's not true, so we will go down to our delay right now. Then it's gonna delay it for 30 milliseconds. Okay, that's really quick. So then we're gonna go back up to our beginning. It's gonna go analog write, LED brightness. We know our brightness now is 5. So then we're going back, brightness equals brightness plus fade amount. Well, that's gonna be 5 plus 5, which is 10. And then we go back down to the if statement. Well, no, it doesn't equal 0 and it don't equal 255. So then it's going to delay for 30 seconds. Then it's going to loop back around. This is all going to be very fluid motions because a delay, think about it. We've been using delays for 1,000 milliseconds, which is equal to a second. This is saying delay for 30 milliseconds. That's a lot less than, a whole lot less than 1,000, which is a second. So all of this is going to be going really fast, okay? So it's going to be looping after looping after looping. And then when it gets to 255, that's the one point where you're going to see it going up to its brightest point is going to be, because 255 is the brightest point. At this point, it's going to say, well, do we test the 255? and then it's going to say yes. So then we go into our if statement, and then it's saying, well, fade amount equals -5. So okay, now we're going to switch directions and we're going to go back down. Okay, so then now it's going, well, -5 plus 255 is 250. So then it's just going to go down, and remember, it's going down very quickly. So now you're seeing it going from the high point down to the low point. Then it's going to start all over again. It's going to go from the low point back up to the high point, and that's how you're seeing it going back and forth and back and forth, and that's what the fade is. Okay, I'm Ebongeek, and I hope that the information provided has been helpful to you. Please remember to subscribe. Happy building and happy coding.